Hello po and good evening. Malapit na mag-good evening. Sorry talaga na delay po kami due to technical problems. But as we all know, mahirap talaga sa Pilipinas. So I'm hoping the reason na nag-push through kami ngayon is just because I'm so excited about our new concept. And I'll tell you about that later. Ako po si Dr. Ana York Bondok. Ako po, our program is called Libreng Konsulta. Kasi po, libre. And mangungonsulta kayo sa akin. I am a pulmonary specialist and an internist. I'm also a congresswoman, 3 terms. I am the wife po of Mayor Jason Sagum. So I am an expert po in barangay matters. And I'm the mom po of an 8-year-old named Benjamin. And today po, nag-start po tayo with the new concept which we call the medical word of the day. O, explain ko muna po kung bakit. One of the things I noticed po, lalo't ngayong may pandemic, ang dami-dami pong mga binabanggit po ng mga medical words na kanan at kaliwa po. That includes antigen, antibody, vaccine, vaccine-related side effects, emergency authorizations, phase 3 trials. Ang dami. There's so many words po related to COVID and non-COVID that doctors are just releasing into the media and the media is releasing po to us. And I'm sorry talaga, kalahati po noon or maybe even more than 80% po, nobody can understand kasi masyado pong malalalim and nobody's bothering to explain them. The doctors presume that we know that. The media presumes that we know that. And then even if you Google it, nasa English po. So I decided, one of our advocacies, talaga pong maintindihan po ng mga tao yung kanilang kalusugan at yung kanila pong katawan para makagawa po tayo ng paraan at magtulungan po para dito po sa ating pandemic. Sige nga, do you know the meaning of the word pandemic? Okay. So what I'm trying to say is I'd like to explain medical terms simply in English or in Taglish. And you can ask me po details about the medical terms para po next time you see the doctor, alam niyo po kung ano yung pinag-uusapan niyo po. It's very intimidating to see a doctor. Siyempre, ano yun, MD yun eh. May bayad pa yung oras niya. So sometimes nakakahiya pong magtanong kasi then we don't look too smart. But actually, hindi pala tayo nagkakaintindihan. So this is actually a big problem. So we'll go A through Z. And pinapili ko po yung mga tao ng letter A, word of the day. And ang napili po nila is AORTA. Okay? So let's start po our word of the day. Nagulat nga rin po kung daming A, biro mo, from antibiotics, amoebiasis, anesthesia, asthma, allergies, Alzheimer's, acetaminophen, that's paracetamol. Ang dami po talaga. I never even thought about that there were so many A words. Pero napili po ng mga netizens is the word aorta. Okay? So let's start. Okay. Word of the day. First day po today. And our word is aorta. Okay? How to spell A-O-R-T-A. How to pronounce. Some people po say aorta. Okay? Sa US po, and if you want to appear sophisticated, you can say aorta. Okay? And dito po nanggagaling the word aortic, meaning from the aorta. And dito po nanggagaling din yung word na aortic aneurysm or aortic aneurysm. Sa Pilipinas po, we tend to say aortic aneurysm. Opo. And then, dito po din nanggagaling the structure called the aortic valve. Okay? So, A-O-R-T-A. It's actually a beautiful word to start with. Because why would I say that it's something that's very interesting word to start with po for our series na medical word of the day. Bakit po? Well, mainly because our lifeblood starts from the aorta. Okay, anong meaning po nito? And why would I say this? What's the aorta ba? Where is it located? First of all, the aorta po is the main blood vessel of the heart. So galing po siya talaga sa puso. And it is the largest blood vessel po in the body. Pinakamakapal, pinakamalakas. Ito po talaga, dito po dumadagsa po lahat ng dugo ng katawan. Okay? As your blood exits po the left ventricle, as your oxygenated blood exits the left ventricle of your heart. Where is the left ventricle? 4 po yung compartments ng heart. Right atrium, right ventricle, left atrium, left ventricle. So paglabas po niya talaga doon on the left side of your heart, it's the largest gush of blood in the body, and dun po talaga that's how oxygen gets into our system and flows from the heart to the brain, to our abdomen, and all over pababa. Okay? So it's actually, that's why I thought it would be also very nice to start with aorta because everything starts from there. Doon po nag-uumpisa lahat. From the heart, going out all over your body. Tinatapon niya, it's like a, ano ko, kung nakakita po kayo ng ano, if you've ever knocked over a fire hydrant, yung gush po ng tubig na yon talaga, that is the lifeblood po of our body. All of the blood, the oxygen, and everything comes out of the heart and it oxygenates, gives life po, um, goes to our, dito po muna lalabas, no? It goes towards head. The first po that will be oxygenated will be, of course, our brain. And then it goes down po towards our thoracic, pababa po, going down until our tummy and onto our legs. Okay, so without the aorta, without a healthy aorta, wala po tayo talagang life starts from there. Because it's just the single most important thing that is needed by our body, and that is blood. And hindi lang po siya blood, but blood with oxygen. And yung oxygen na yun po will be flowing po into all parts of our body. And that, dun po mag-uumpisa yung biochemistry, all the things that will happen po to us. There will be an oxygen exchange at the end of our blood vessels. And without the aorta, we're nothing. Without the heart and the corresponding major vessels, which number one major vessel is the aorta, and dun po talaga lumalabas po lahat ng dugo ng katawan. So I thought it was a really nice way to start aorta, opo, because it's all the blood, all the knowledge that we need will come out and gush out of our heart po towards our brain, and doon po mag-uumpisa ang atin pong oxygenation, and our entire body cannot work po without that. Okay? So let's start po. Pakita po muna natin yung unang picture natin. We have a slide po to help us understand this. So, nasan ba yung aorta? Okay? Tuloy, lumalabas na naman yung pagka-Pilipino ko, though I did spend many years in the States. Aorta talaga doon para sa mga tao. Pero Pilipino po tayo, okay? So, what are we looking at here? Put up your left hand. Opo. Ito po, diretso niya lang po, no? Dito. This side of the screen, yun po yung right ventricle, that's on top. Right atrium and right ventricle. From the right ventricle po to the left, and then from the left, going out. So, ito po, ano, sa gitna po. And then, nakikita nyo po, the blue is the vein, the red po is the arteries. Veins carry blood without oxygen, and the red po, yan talaga ang lifeblood natin. That is blood with oxygen. So, palabas po siya from the fourth chamber of the heart, the left ventricle going outwards. So, I don't know if we do have a pointer, pero po, yung red pong palabas na yon na tatlong umbok po sa taas, yun po ang atin pong major vessels, which yun po yung brachiocephalic artery, and atin pong subclavian and carotids on the left side. Okay? So, going down, next slide po, leaving the heart, all the blood goes out into the aorta. Next slide po. Meron po ba tayong next slide? Okay, so we're waiting for our next slide. Ayan po. Ayan. So, do you see the picture po, no? Going out po, that bright, the light pink po, yan ang puso natin, nasa gitna po yan, slightly towards the left side of our chest. And then nakikita po natin that red goes out towards the head. So sabi ko nga po, utak muna. And then it curves po into what we call the thoracic arch. And then going downwards po, thorax, that's chest. So pababa po siya, no? And then it will, leaving the chest, it becomes po the abdominal aorta. And then leaving the going down po, it will become the femoral arteries. and going down po towards our legs. So there are actually two main parts of the aorta. People always call it the thoracic aorta and the abdominal aorta. So thoracic aorta po, that is the aorta in your chest. Yan po yung nagbibigay po ng dugo sa atin pong uh, rib muscles and also to our arms and legs. And then ano po, it going down po, it goes down, becomes the abdominal aorta. It oxygenates po our entire gut. That includes the stomach, the liver, lahat po yan coming, all flowing from the abdominal aorta. The small and large intestines, the renal arteries po for your kidneys, and then it goes down po to become the right and left femoral arteries. Pababa po ng pababa yun until the tips of your toes. So you are all truly connected po from your heart hanggang sa dulo po talaga ng ating daliri until the tips, kaduluduluan po ng ating big toes and little toes. We are all connected and receiving blood po from the aorta. Okay? Or aorta. Yung utak po natin, nakikita nyo naman po, it goes first, the aortic blood first goes talaga po, and majority of it goes to our brain because our brain is a very, very important organ. Kung hindi po tayo magkakaroon po ng oxygenation to our brain, we have only 6 minutes. Okay? If somebody who collapses in front of you, that's why we do CPR. Kasi po, pinupush po natin, we are pumping. Would you mind to take out the slide lang and feature me? We are pumping po on the chest of the person when we do CPR. So, ang ano po noon, ayan, nagpa-pump po tayong ganyan. Ano, we pump. Why are we pumping on the chest? Nakikita nyo po, no? When we do CPR, we do two things. Humihinga po tayo onto the person, di ba? Pinapanganga po yung bibig and you give the breath of life. That's the oxygen. And then you pump there because po the up and down action po sucks blood into the heart and pushes it out into the aorta. So kung meron pong somebody collapses, CPR po yung ginagawa. That is the point of CPR, which is to move your blood po. Hopefully ma-oxygenate from the breath that someone is pushing into you. And ano po, ma-circulate po yung dugo po natin, most especially to our brain. Within 6 minutes po, if you do not receive blood from the heart to the aorta to your brain, eh kayo po ay matatawag pong brain damaged. And you may be revived, but after 6 minutes po, you will already retain brain damage. And the longer po that your brain doesn't receive blood from the aorta, from the heart to the aorta to the brain, and as namamatay po yung brain cells, and you will either be damaged or perhaps even comatose, or you might even be what we call brain dead. Okay? So very important po yung dugo to flow from the heart to the aorta to our major vessels po in our brain going upwards. And then it flows from the thoracic arch going downwards. So yun po yun. That's the aorta. It's a wonderful, wonderful ano po, part of the body. Makapal po yan. It is the largest blood vessel po sa katawan. It is made of many layers po of elastic muscle. And it's very elastic kasi po it can adjust itself to blood pressure. Nahihirapan din ho yung aorta nyo at yung blood vessels nyo po pag mataas po yung pressure nyo. Kasi the driving force po going out of the heart matindi po. And that is what can cause po weakenings and diseases po in the aorta. Okay, so I'm really happy to have started with the aorta. Ang ganda, it's a beautiful blood vessel. It's amazing. It oxygenates our heart. Yes, from the right and left coronary po, then oxygenates the brain, and then it goes to our chest, abdomen, kidneys, legs. Ayan po, aorta. Okay? So I'm willing to answer any questions. I purposely did not lecture the diseases of the aorta. So you can ask that po sa mga tanong. If you have any questions, I am happy to answer them. But I hope you like the concept. Word of the day, sana po makatulong kami to help you understand science better. Ako man mismo, I just reviewed anatomy for the first time in a very long time and I realized why I studied medicine. Maganda. It's fascinating. So, yun po yun. So, ngayon, when you're eating dinner, pwede niyong i-drop yung ano. I know the meaning. Daddy, sabihin nyo, do you know where your aorta is? Kung bata ka. Tatay, I will tell you where your aorta is. Dito po yun, pag ganon. Okay? And next time you see the doc, you ask him, Doc, kumusta po yung aorta ko? Mabibilib yun. So guys, word of the day, aorta in US, aorta po sa Pilipinas. Both of them are okay. All right, salamat po and good evening.
Hello, Doc. Unfortunately, nagkaroon tayo ng problema sa Facebook page.
Oh,
Baka
no.
kaya wala tayong comments ngayon. But we already posted our YouTube live doon sa FB natin. However, wala tayong mga comments right now probably because most of our audiences are in the Facebook Dr. Anna York Pondoc
Oo
page.
nga. Baka naman meron nagko-comment sa YouTube.
Wala pa naman po. But right now, we have 7 viewers on our YouTube channel. Maraming salamat po sa pagtangkilik sa amin. So, ayun, Doc.
Okay. Malungkot naman. Ang ganda pa naman ng word natin. But that's okay.
Yes.
Ako ang magtatanong. Okay?
Sige po.
Sa mga tao po. Ano ba mga sakit ng mga aorta? Number one pong sakit ng aorta, ito po. Okay? And it comes from atherosclerosis. Another A. Ano ba atherosclerosis? Yun po yung yung plaque po na mga cholesterol and buildups. And yun po yun, nakakabara po yan. At nakakapag dumidikit po yan to the wall of the aorta. They can also block small blood vessels in our heart. They can also block blood vessels anywhere, usually arteries. And they can also damage our aorta. Kaya may tinatawag silang aortic plaques. Yes, atherosclerosis. Sclerosis, not sclerosis. Sclerosis. S-C-L-E. So, atherosclerosis. Okay? Ayan. Sa US, atherosclerosis. Sa Pilipinas, atherosclerosis. Pareho lang ho yan, okay? So, sometimes when you do x-rays po, lalagay nila calcified aortic plaques or calcified aortic plaques. Ang meaning po nun, marami na po kayong cholesterol sa katawan nyo, nag-calcify na po siya at nakikita na po sa mga imaging studies. In that case po talaga, you really should check po yung inyong cardiac risk. And definitely po, take steps to lower po yung inyong cardiac risk. How do you lower your cardiac risk? Assess nyo po yung mga factors. Age, sex, are you smoking? Are you drinking? What is your weight? Ano po yung inyong cholesterol levels, yung good cholesterol and high cholesterol? And then, ano po yung inyong lifestyle, stress, and exercise? Ipagsama-sama nyo po lahat yon, i-assess nyo po whether you have a high cardiac risk or a low cardiac risk and take steps po to improve your cardiac risk. Opo. And yun po yun. Our aorta can be damaged by smoking and by number one problem po talaga, atherosclerosis and tinatawag po nilang plaque deposits or fatty plaques. So yun po yun. Mostly happening po in men over the age of 50. But I'd like to say this, Reina, there are some women now, people think, I'm a lady, I'll never have a heart attack. My aorta is fine, my heart is fine. No, the moment you stop menstruating and you enter menopause, yung iyong risk of heart attack is actually the same as a male. So, yung protective effect po ng estrogen nawawala. So, if someone is older, like an older female, yes, be concerned din po about aortic plaques and plaques all over the body. Okay? Is atherosclerosis the only thing that can happen to your aorta? Well, hindi po. There are certain genetic diseases and infectious diseases. Infectious disease po talaga na talaga pong nag-affect po ng ating aorta is syphilis. Pero ngayon po, it's a sexually transmitted disease. Rare na po. Well, hindi ko naman sabihin rare, but it doesn't happen as much as it used to due to antibiotics. There is Marfan syndrome po. That's genetic weakening po of the thoracic arch, happens in young males. And then, ayun po yun, humihina po yung ating aorta. As we get older, we have what we call aneurysms, which are weakness of the wall of the aorta. And yun po yun, yung nagiging how do I put this? Lumuluwag. Parang imbis na, it's like a balloon, instead of being stretchy po, and then coming back, it gumaganon. It just becomes like a balloon na hindi na po bumalik sa kanyang tamang shape. So can you show the second slide again because there's an aneurysm there. Ayan po. We'll wait for them to show our second slide. So where do aneurysms occur in the aorta? In the thoracic arch po, there are thoracic aneurysms and there are abdominal aneurysms. Ayan po. The picture po, no? Yan. Nakita niyo po, imbes na dapat diretso po yun, parang may umuulbok. It's like a balloon na hindi na po bumalik. So yan po, that is an abdominal aneurysm. Okay? Usually, pumuputok po yon for people who have high blood pressure. And pag malaki na po talaga, humihina na po. And in that case, usually po 5 cm na po yung laki, 5.5 cm ang lapad. Eh, inooperahan na po yan. Paano po siya operahan? Well, pwede po siyang balutin ng isang graft para hindi po pumutok. Or pwede pong pasukan naman ho ng isang stent. Stent is coming po from the femoral artery, from your legs, ipapasok po yon, and then it will open, and yun po na, dun na po dadaan yung dugo nyo, instead of, it will protect the wall of the aorta. So yun po yun. So yun po yun. Third issue, other than genetic, infectious, atherosclerosis, meron pong trauma. Okay, car accidents. Dito po, kung tinamaan po talaga kayo, sinaksak, binarel, you will see the largest amount of blood that ever came out of a person po sa daan. Kung talaga pong nasaktan po or so the blunt, pag blunt force trauma, wala pong sugat eh. Pero yung po talaga, yung nag-embed dito yung steering wheel, you can have po thoracic trauma. And then sa abdomen din po, pag steering wheel again, po talaga, blunt abdominal trauma po yun. Hindi kasi naksak. Okay? Kasi blunt, not sharp. Okay? Pag may sharp, like sinaksak ka dito, pag gusto mo pumatay ng I'm sorry to say this, pero pag tinamaan nyo po talaga, nasaksak kayo dito, aorta po talaga ang tama doon. Okay? And it's very, very serious. Kung nabaril din po kayo dito over here, again, aorta po talaga ang posibleng matamaan. Dito kasi ang puso so the heart. Pero kung dito po, aorta and major blood vessels po talaga ang tama. Another thing po, there are accidents na napuputol po yung femoral artery, motorcycle accidents, car accidents, ganun po. Lalabas po lahat ng dugo ng katawan doon, okay? So if you have it requires po a vascular surgeon. So who is the doctor po in charge of your aorta? For the aortic plaques, the cholesterol, the heart, cardiologist po. Kung wala naman pong cardiologist, kaya naman po ni internist, okay? Internal medicine. Sinong opera po ng inyong aorta pag meron po kayong aneurysm? That person is called a vascular surgeon. Okay? Vascular surgeon. So, kung meron po kayong aneurysm na gusto nyong pa-repair, kung meron po kayong dissection, which is a tear in the wall of the aorta, either in the thoracic or the abdominal, ang tatawagin po nila is a vascular surgeon. So again, I'm very happy to discuss, it's a wonderful blood vessel. It's the lifeblood of our body. Word of the day number 1, aorta. Kung Pilipino po kayo, aorta. Okay? So, salamat na salamat po. And I hope you like this topic. And let's talk about tomorrow. Letter B. Okay? Salamat po.